what is wrong. You should take it like this, that they also have an obligation. Yes, there are proper ways of doing it. There are better ways of executing all of that. But we need to give each other enough space that if a brother or sister, a believer comes to us and they try to talk to us about something right, they are just not doing it from their pocket. Allah wants them to do that. It's like Amar bil Maruf and Munkar is an obligation on anybody. And this verse is saying that if an individual is not doing that, they're at loss. So for us to be able to get ourselves out of that loss, we have to believe, we have to do amal saleh, and we have to become those individuals who advise each other of truth, haqq, the right things, and patience, sabr. Okay, now, what is sabr? At times, and obviously, I'm not going to be saying something new because I'm not supposed to say something new. Al-yawm akmaltu lakum dinakum. The deen has been perfected completely for you. I have to just tell you what is out there. So a lot of time, maybe something you say, okay, I already know this. Right? That's great. We remind each other. Sabr, generally when we translate that in English, we say patience. But what does sabr in really, carrying with it? What does it really means? And on the parallel, I will bring the meaning of intizar as well. Because the verse, the hadith I read at the beginning, I said that بعد معرفة الله انتظار الفرج أفضل العبادة. Usually this part بعد معرفة الله is not conveyed or is part of when this hadith is narrated. But it adds a lot more meaning and it can help us understand the intizar better. So, intizarul faraj, afdul ibadah. What is faraj and what is intizar and what is sabr? So, we'll take these few meanings together and inshallah we'll conclude with that tonight. Faraj means an opening and also in the meaning of ease. Sometimes words have a dictionary meaning and then they have a terminological meaning, and then certain words, because of how in our life we associate with certain meanings, we use them for multiple meanings. Opening, like for example, you're stuck somewhere and you want to get out. So if opening is there, that means it made easy for you. So opening is in the meaning of ease as well. Because you were stuck, now a thing has opened for you, and through that opening, you got the ease, you were out, able to breathe. So, faraj, the real meaning of faraj, the dictionary meaning is opening. But it is used in the meaning of ease. Then comes intizar. Intizar is to wait for someone, to wait, right? Now, what is this wait and what is this sabr which we usually talk about in our Islamic and especially the Shia terms? We talk about them a lot, right? Intizar al-faraj, sabr, isbir, sabr. Right? We usually say it all the time to ourselves, to our children. The very meaning sabr has, in the same context, the intizar also has that meaning. And faraj also has a greater meaning than the usual understanding we have for it. Sabr doesn't mean that if something falls upon you, a happening, you just bear it. That is not the meaning of sabr. That's a wrong understanding. Rather, sabr has an unsur. Sabr has something which has also to do with iman. Sabr means that when something befalls on you, you are attentive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That in every moment of my life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still has the power upon every single thing out there. Nothing is outside the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one. So you have that belief, you stay tight with that. Number two, you are going to be an active, patient person. And what does I mean by that? That yes, you are going to bear that while knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge, in control of everything. And you are not going to get upset with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's also part of sabr. You won't say, why did you do that to me, Allah? Because that why doesn't make sense with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you're Mawla and Master. So when we say a person is sabir, has sabr, they never have that why. Rather, they realize that Allah is in charge. They realize that Allah has power to do anything and everything and to change the situation. They are pleased with the happening in the meaning that they are not saying why to Allah, that questioning him, why did you do that? Because we don't have, as a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as an abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't have the privilege to do that because He owns us. He's our master. We don't have the right to even say why you did that to us. I'm not talking about that why we're going to find the reason why certain thing happened. That's something else. I'm talking about that why when our child breaks a glass and say, why did you do that? That why doesn't mean that you want to find out the reason. You were just like questioning them. You shouldn't have done that. I'm talking about that why. There's difference. Another thing in sabr is that, and I said actively you're patient, is that because you know Allah is in charge. You're attentive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though you're bearing with that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you will see in the moment what your duty is, and you will strive and try to make sure that you end up doing your duty and get yourself out of that and go toward what Allah wants from you. And this is the sabr which we have to advise each other so that we can get out of that loss. The Quran is saying, وَالْأَسْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Now, on this side we have sabr. We have to be active. We cannot just like when some bad happenings are befalling upon us, we can say, let's do sabr. In the meantime, let's not do something. No. You have to actively get yourself out of that situation by doing what Allah wants you to do in that situation, whatever your wazifa is. Now, the hadith we talked about, intizar al-faraj. Intizar also have a similar context to it. That waiting should also be active waiting. Hadith says that intizar al-faraj afdal ibadah ba'da ma'rifatillah. Waiting for the faraj, waiting for the opening, waiting for the ease is the best of the worshipping, the ibadah, after recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also plays a big role, like the way it plays in sabr. Intizar, while yes, it means to wait, but waiting has to be active waiting. For example, when you have a guest coming to your house, you invite somebody, you are waiting for them to reach your house. So somebody asks you, what are you doing? I'm waiting. How do you wait? In a usual scenario, normally we as people, intellectual people, we in our daily lives, when we wait for guests who we have invited, we do active waiting. And what am I referring to? You will make sure that the house is clean. You clean up. You fragrance everything. You present and provide whatever best is possible for you, or you think that's good for the individual who's coming. It's not like you're waiting for the 3 o'clock when the guest was supposed to arrive by just putting hands on hand and you're waiting. No. You never do that. As an intellectual person, you never do that. You understand the active waiting in your daily life scenario. Right? But at times when it comes to the other waiting, we forget that because we're not attentive. The very way you're actively waiting for your guest and you prepare everything, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making attentive that intizar al-faraj is the best of the ibadat, that intizar is also, that wait also needs you to be actively waiting, and that means that you have to do the preparations, whatever may these preparations are. And the other concept here is faraj. Faraj, the opening and ease, the faraj hakiki, the actual faraj, the real ease for all the believers, for the humanity, is the returning and reappearance for Mawla, our Master, Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Sharif Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. This is why it is known as faraj akbar, the real faraj, the absolute faraj, the real ease, because that's what humanity needs. But the hadith talks about all kind of faraj. Not only that, that's the real one. So you have to prepare and actively wait for that. But also, in every situation of your life where there is tightness, there is closeness, you're not able to achieve what you're supposed to be achieving, whatever your needs are, whatever your wants are in your life's happenings, in the smallest of the things, waiting for the ease and faraj is afdalul ibadah, is the best of the worshipping. This is where the ma'rafatullah, ba'da ma'rafatullah plays in. Even if in the smallest of the things you need in your life and you want in your life, you're waiting for the ease, it is best of the worshipping, because you recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is my Mawla, my master, in charge of every bit in my life. Every second of my life is handled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you're waiting, recognizing that He is the Mawla, He is the master, He is the in charge, you are 100% relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what could be a better worship than being attentive to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now, because we don't have much time, I don't want to prolong it too much. All of these concepts we just talked about were 100% present in the movement of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and present in that lady, the lady who changed the history, Zainab Salamullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal faraj. What the even of Bala, she did all of this. She did intizar al-faraj, she did the sabr, tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bil sabr. If you look at this is why Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they are the one who are felicitous, they are successful, because they ended up doing what Quran is saying. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, innal insana lafi khusr. For sure the human beings, they are lost. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Except for those who believe, that they amal salih, and they advise each other of haqq, the truth, and sabr. Every person from the family of the Prophet, the infallible Imams alayhi salam, and the close companions, and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and especially Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad ajjal farajahum. She is successful in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also the world, because she acted upon that in the best way possible. This is what she did. Since the moment Imam Hussain was martyred at the time of Asr in Karbala on the day of Ashur, from that moment onward, you see every move of her is full of patience and active patience. She's making sure these are not just words which are mentioned in Maqatil. Her patience is active. With her all the might she had, she's striving to safeguard every kid possible in her possibility to, save from when the fire was put upon the tents. The Maqtal was read the other day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse day in and day out Umar ibn Sa'ad and Ma'awiyah and Yazid ibn Ma'awiyah and Ibn Ziyad and every individual who took part. When the tents were put on fire, She's making sure, they're saying that, okay, save your life, run toward outside. But while they were running, some were falling down, some catching fire. But Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha, in those moments, she's doing sabr, but she's active. She went. I wonder what the courage she had. The sabr she had, the intizar al-faraj she had. She goes to Umar ibn Sa'ad and those who just a little while ago had martyred her brothers, her nephews, and she has the courage to go to them and say, you put fire in our camps, we need a camp. And Allahu Akbar, how much authority Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given her, and her words would make a difference, and they were able to get. These are not just words of the history, these are realities. When she is in front of the people of Kufa, and people have narrated saying that she was talking like Ali alayhi salam. Imagine when you are in a situation like that, how noisy it would be. When people have gathered to see certain individuals being captured as prisoners of war and called like rebels. She silenced them. She told them to be quiet, and it was said, it's narrated that there was pin drop silent. And when she gave those sermons, that was her patience, sabr. That was her intizar al-faraj. She was focused on the outcome. She was hopeful of Allah's mercy. This is the meaning of ma ra'aytu illa jamila. Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha, out of her merits, what has been written and talked about is even beyond as an individual like me to talk about it. Some of our great hadithin or scholars, they have mentioned that there was a time when Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, because of the vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was extremely sick. In those moments, she became the Naiba Khas of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That she was the one who, in those moments, were the successor of the Imam and doing the obligations and the duties. Because she was given the charge. And in those moments, she was playing that leadership role and guiding everybody and taking care of all the affairs. SubhanAllah, how she, we were reading in the Maqatil that very lady who did not go to the bodies of her very own sons, she was found next to the body of Ali Akbar alayhi salam. Ali Akbar alayhi salam had a very special place. Was ashbahun nas, the Peygamber sallallahu, most alike of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Lady Zainab Salamullah alayhi didn't want Imam Hussain to be by himself. And maybe this is the only place in the Maqtal where you can find that he called upon the Banu Hashim to come and help him take the body of Ali Akbar. Because Zainab Salamullah didn't want him to by himself there. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Ibn Rasulullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Shaheed wa Ibn Shaheed. It is narrated that Umar ibn Sa'ad, may Allah curse him day in and day out, in the afternoon of the day of Ashur, sent the holy head of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam to Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad through Khuli ibn Yazid and Hamid ibn Muslim, as they, may Allah curse them, and ordered the heads of the other holy martyrs be sent by Shimr ibn Zuljoshin, Kash ibn Ashraf. So they moved with the said holy heads and reached Kufa. Umar ibn Sa'd remained the rest of Ashura and the next day till noon time in Karbala. Then he moved with the remaining persons of the holy family of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam from Karbala. He made the members of the holy family, who were the trust of the best of the messengers of Allah, to sit on bare camels, while their veils were removed in front of the enemies. In the midst of these sorrows and griefs, they were driven just as chained slaves. Ya Hussein. Not even for a second, these Mal'ooneen thought that their ladies are in hijab, their women are in chadar, their women are covered. But the Ibnat Rasulullah, Zainab Kulsum, Sukaina Raqiya Fatima, they all, their chadars have been snatched and they are being made to move on the camel without even the proper. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ridan bi qada wa tasliman li amr. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي، يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك يا سيدي. يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. لست أنساه مفردا بين جمع أبرزوا فيه كامن الأحقاد، وإذا بالنداء عجل فلبى، وإذا بالنداء عجل فلبى، وهوى للسجود فوق الوهاد، ومثير الأشجان رزء اليتامى، منذ وعت بالصهيل صوت الجواياد، برزت للقاء تعثر في الذيل وقان الدموع شبه الغادي، فرأت سرجه خليا فنادت تلك ووالدي وذي وعمادي، فرأت في الصعيد ملقا حماها هشمت صدره خيول الأعادي، فدعت والجفون رحا ويا القلب لهيب من الأسى،